Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Ferghal Armstrong and welcome to Cracking Addiction. And today we have with us Helen Keynes, who is a Reiki master. Hello Helen, how are you?
Good, thank you Ferghal. Thank you so much for having me.
So, obvious question, we're here to talk about Reiki. Where did it come from?
Sure. So a man called Mikao Usui discovered Reiki in the mid-1800s. He was actually a Buddhist monk, Ferghal, and he found the formula for Reiki in a Tibetan script called Tibetan Tantra Lotus Sutra. Now, once he found the formula, he needed to essentially be passed the energy so that he could channel it himself. So he wanted to figure out how to do this. So he went and meditated on Mount Kuriyama for 3 weeks, fasted and went into deep meditation. And upon completion of that, he actually received his attunements from Source in a big ball of light coming towards him. So once that Source light hit him, he actually lost consciousness for a bit. And when he came to, he had Reiki channeling through his body.
So this is in Japan, is that right?
That's correct. Yes, Japanese. He was studying in a Japanese monastery.
But he found the inspiration for it in a Tibetan piece of writing. Is that right?
That's correct. And he actually had heard about the ancient healing method prior to becoming a Buddhist monk. He asked the Christians about it, he asked the Buddhists about it, and everyone was told that it wasn't spoken about anymore and that that ancient healing method had been lost. And that's when he was advised the best thing to do is to study enlightenment, and that's when he became a Buddhist monk and joined that cause and studied that.
Right. So the Christian faith had something akin to Reiki, is that right?
Yeah, well, it's sort of said kind of that Jesus had Reiki and Buddha as well, if you sort of read a few texts and things like that. So I don't know whether Mikao Usui heard about it because he thought Jesus had it, but he certainly heard it that it had been happening previously in the past from people. So
all right. So what happens in a Reiki session? What do you do? What does it look like?
Yeah, sure. So a client will come in, we'll have a quick chat about, what they're wanting, what they're there for, what they're wanting to let go of, what they're wanting to heal. And that could look like a sore knee or a sore neck, or it could look like some more emotional reason, like anxiety or depression, or just a feeling of carrying a lot of stress. Once we've had a brief discussion about that, they get up on the massage table, Ferghal, and I then lay my hands over them. So it can be either a light on touch or a hovering, depending on which part of the body it is on. And basically, we have the Reiki energy flowing through my hands, and the client will feel this as a heat, a nice, warm, beautiful heat, and that's channeled directly from Source. So Reiki is essentially Source light energy, and it's channeled straight through my body and out through my hands. Once this energy is flowing through the client, they are placed into a deeply relaxed state. And in this relaxed state, it's basically replacing fear with love. So fear is then leaving the client's body. They're then able to discuss with me, or I can bring it up with them at the right time as I'm guided to do, the release. Now, the release is basically embodying whatever it is, first of all, that you need to let go of. So it's finding out where it is in the body, what color it looks like, what it feels like when there's no fear there. Because when there's no fear there and you focus in on that, your soul, your energy recognizes that this is not actually a natural part of your body when there's no stress there. And it's a really beautiful experience. So obviously with a sore knee or a sore neck, you know where it is in the body. But you still need to give it a color. We still need to discuss it so that you can embody it. And once you're embodying the energy, you really feel it and the energy starts to increase. Now, this is what's known as the release. So you're admitting to yourself without fear anymore because you're nice and relaxed in the session, that you want to release this, that this is hurting you. And if it's an emotional thing, anxiety can be in the chest or in the stomach, for example. So we can figure out where it is in the body first. Then we give it a color, essentially. And usually the color is like a murky color. It might be a murky color of the chakra area that it's sitting in, because all the chakras have different colors to them. Or it could be like a icky gray or dusty, icky stuff. So essentially we focus in on that, and then the Reiki flows in and lifts it up and out of the body. Now, when this is happening, when the release is happening, you can often feel it moving within your body. And this can be quite confronting. So it's essentially understanding that the pain can't hurt you, that the release can't hurt you, that emotions can't hurt you. And what we're releasing with physical stuff is the emotional causes behind them. So once you sort of go through the release, it would usually go for a couple of minutes. The client might cry or feel really angry or need to talk about a certain thing. They need to talk about something. We can go into a guided meditation where they're releasing and feeling. I'm giving them images within the mind to help them let go of whatever it is that they're wanting to let go of. After the release, I ground the client back in, and we go and have a little bit of a chat about the emotional causes of disease. So emotional causes of disease, yeah.
I was going to say, what are the emotional causes of disease? You could argue that there's an underlying emotional cause for every disease. But go on.
Yes, so true. It's so true. So emotional causes for diseases, I've got a lot of common ones. So the cold or flu, for example, is feeling like life is too busy, feeling like you're not allowed to stop, and this feeling of overwhelm. And it's really interesting when COVID came in with that whole flu symptom, it made the whole world stop. And as much as it was awful and it was really tragic, it's changed the collective, and it's changed how we do things. People can work from home now. It's helped us as a collective to slow down. And I really like relating that back to that emotional cause, because everybody can relate to that one. A sore knee would be not being able to let go of a situation in the past. A sore hip can be a problem in the family and feeling used or feeling unloved or unappreciated, things like that. And the emotional cause of addiction is seeking something outside of yourself to take away the pain or stress, and a fear deep, deep down that you're not really a good person and you have difficulty in loving and accepting yourself.
Yeah, that resonates with me, because we're in the helping people business. And one of my great heroes, Gabor Mate, he's a very famous addiction doctor, and he's written, "Ask not why the drug, but why the pain." So we're seeing, what I'm seeing and hearing is a recognition that actually a lot of addiction is due to an underlying pain. So this is where Reiki can come in. Is that right?
Absolutely, Ferghal. It would be so beneficial to support clients in their relapse prevention. I feel there's a lot of fear with addiction, and when you stop taking the substance, and it's like you're learning how to walk again. It's not easy. And not only that, you have to change your whole social group. You can't have your old friends that you used to take drugs with. So you've got to, before you even know what to do in a social situation, you've got to try to figure out how to make new friends. And that can cause a whole heap of anxiety, a whole heap of worry. So first of all, Reiki can help to remove that fear. It can help settle you down. It can also help actually with the dopamine levels, because I know when people stop taking substances, their dopamine levels can go all over the place. They can get way too much at first, and then the brain just stops completely making it at all. And when that happens at that point, coming in for a Reiki session can really support you in leveling out those dopamine levels to fasten that process for the client, which would be a huge help to the emotional roller coasters that they experience.
So can Reiki help people actually detox off drugs?
I think
can you bring someone who's actively using to abstinence? Is there a rule there?
I think in terms of when they're detoxing, I think it's really important that they do have the appropriate medical support and all of that sort of stuff, first of all. So depending on how addicted and what substance and all of those sort of questions, you have to look at all of that. And I think at that time, they just, that first month or so, I wouldn't recommend it if they get really sick from the detox. It's more Western medical stuff. And then once the emotional traumas, the reasons that they use start to come up, definitely then. I think it would be something that I'd really love to research, though, and look into later on down the track, definitely, in terms of the detox, because I do think it would be beneficial. But, it would depend on the client and depend on are they able to lie down for an hour and be comfortable like that. There's a lot of things to take into account with the physical addiction part.
So what I'm hearing, that it's it's got a bigger role, or a more obvious role at least, in relapse prevention and the recovery journey. And let's not forget that detox is really the first step
Yeah.
on a lifelong recovery journey. So Reiki is after the first step. It's maybe the second or the third step.
Yep. I would
Is
agree
that
with
fair
that.
enough to say? Right.
Definitely,
Okay.
definitely. And I'd
Right.
also think that, giving Reiki attunements and things like that to people in recovery who come for a Reiki session, they really enjoy it. They feel it was really beneficial because once they get their first attunement, they have Reiki flowing through them constantly, and they're able to then learn how to give themselves self-healing anytime that they want, and that would be incredible.
Okay. So what's an attunement?
So basically, there's 3 levels to Reiki, and to pass an attunement, there is a course that goes with it. So in Reiki level 1, we go over the history and the lineage of Reiki. We go over what Reiki is, talk about the chakras and all the different chakras and systems. We discuss the emotional causes of illnesses. And then we go into how to do a Reiki healing on yourself and how to do a Reiki healing on your loved ones. So we're not doing Reiki on other people as a profession when we get Reiki level 1. And then at the end, I pass the attunement, which is an energy transfer. And there's a few symbols and breathing things and all sorts of stuff that I have to do. And then straight away, the client who's got the Reiki attunement needs to put their hands on someone until the Reiki starts flowing out of them. And they'll feel it. They'll feel that heat flowing out. It's really amazing. So Reiki level 1 is essentially doing Reiki sessions for yourself. The benefits are you're constantly having that Reiki healing you. And that actually, interestingly, that you talked about the detox, gives the person a natural detox at that time. So I'd also be interested to have a look into myself whether giving Reiki attunements in detox would be a benefit as well.
Right.
Then in Reiki
So you mentioned Reiki level 1. So there must be level 2.
Yes, that's right. So in Reiki level 2, we go on to learn what's known the Reiki symbols. So there's different symbols. There's a couple of different symbols, 3 different ones that do 3 different things. So one's for emotional healing. One's to increase the power of the Reiki flowing out of your hands, increase the power that you're channeling, which is really good once you've done the embodiment part, when we've figured out where it is, what we're wanting to release, what color it looks like, do the power up symbol. Then there's also a symbol to sort of check into past life stuff and clearing karma as well, which is going on a deeper level again with the Reiki. And you also meet your Reiki guides when you receive Reiki level 2 attunement. So the Reiki guides, Ferghal, they're essentially spirit guides that specialize in Reiki. And I think we could have a whole nother episode on what spirit guides are. But essentially,
well, maybe we will.
essentially everyone has spirit guides, and whatever you specialize in, whatever you do, whether you're a mum, whether you go to work, whether you're a doctor, whether you're a cook, you have guides that help you do all that stuff. And the way I like to describe guides in a practical manner is, when you leave your house and you've forgotten your keys, and just before you close the door, you're like, oh my gosh, my keys are inside. That's your guides reminding you that you've forgotten your keys.
Right.
It's not you kind of remembering it. So we'll leave that there because I could talk about that all day. But essentially, you meet the Reiki guides once you receive the Reiki level 2 attunement, and you practice on acquaintances. And when you feel ready, you are allowed to do a professional session. But I highly recommend to my students that they know the Reiki guides well before they start this, because it's a very, very intuitive process. They guide you when to say something. They'll channel you a meditation to do, like an inner child healing for a client and things like this. And it really makes the sessions really, really powerful and really beneficial. And we also learn distance healing. So that means you can do Reiki over video, just like you and me are talking now.
Right. Does that work?
It does. It does. So essentially, the client can release as much as they feel safe to release. So obviously, in an in-person session, the safe space can be created very well. Over video, it can still be created, but probably not quite as much. So I feel that a video session is more subtle, but definitely still beneficial. And clients that have had in-person sessions, they have had pretty big releases with me in videos as well.
Okay. And what's the level 3 then?
Level 3 is Reiki Masters. So this is where you learn how to do Reiki attunements and pass them on to other people. You learn your 3rd degree symbols, and there's another symbol that comes in here, and you learn the attunement symbols. So the other symbol that comes in is a soul healing level, essentially, and you're then to use this symbol in every Reiki session. You then should be naturally connected to your Reiki guides really easily without sort of any worry or cause. They're just there, and you get a sense of oneness with the source light. You get a sense of oneness with the universe, and it really helps you on your individual path to enlightenment, which is really powerful, really beautiful. So in the course, we teach how to pass the attunements, how to teach others Reiki, and discuss that karma clearing and the oneness that you're getting and all of that sort of stuff.
Right. So you're a Reiki master. You can pass this Reiki knowledge on to others.
Yes.
And you are able to provide Reiki healing sessions to people, and you feel that there is definitely a role for Reiki in recovery. Can you give us a specific example of how someone in recovery might actually benefit from Reiki? I mean, let's drill down into that. Let's try and get very specific.
Yeah. So I think, Ferghal, a question that I love to say to any client is, if there was no fear, what would you do? And to say this to someone in recovery, I feel that they are learning how to walk again. They are learning how to, there's a lot of social anxiety. There's a lot of these things going on. So coming in for a Reiki session, talking about that stuff in that safe space, and remember that the Reiki removes fear. So in other talk therapies, they are extremely beneficial, but it can take a very, very long time sometimes for the client to feel comfortable to discuss some things, especially the more deeply seated issues. So in the Reiki session, that fear is gone, and they have a connection with oneness themselves. They feel whole. And this might not be something that they've felt in a very, very long time because of their substance use. And they might feel very raw and very uncomfortable when they stop taking the substance, but they don't want to go back to it. So giving them this gift of feeling whole for that beautiful hour, it would speed up the process of what they're comfortable to talk about, what they're comfortable to let go.
Right. I like what you say. It releases fear. Ask not why the drug, but rather why the pain.
Yeah.
And where there is pain, there is fear. Yes. Well, I really do identify with that line. Reiki releases the fear. And I suppose, when we think about people who are affected by substances, there is a lot of fear because there's a lot of stigma. Even actually approaching services for help, there is a lot of fear there. And a lot of our work really is designed to minimize the barriers to access. That can include barriers to access for post-detox care. So yes, minimize the fear, release the fear, and engage in a journey of hope.
And I really feel as well that Reiki would be beneficial for people in the industry, in the AOD industry, getting the intake workers, getting the doctors, getting the people working in the rehabs, giving them Reiki. If any of them want it, I would absolutely love to do that attunement for them, because that would be beneficial as well. Because once you have those attunements, you have this sort of relaxed energy about you, and just sitting with people, not even having to talk, it's calming for them.
Helen, I want to thank you for your time and expertise tonight, and I certainly hope we can speak again very soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ferghal. It's been a pleasure.
That's all for today, folks. My name is Dr. Ferghal Armstrong, and this has been Cracking Addiction.